This is Mastering Mathematics with your teacher, Karen Weston.
Hello, Antigua Barbuda and the rest of the world. I hope you had a lovely night's rest because we are back and we are bubbling. We are ready to go. Yes, this is Mastering Mathematics, the program sponsored by the Ministry of Education in conjunction with its EBU unit and our Center for Mathematics Education and ABS Television. What are we doing? We're on a home track and we are making certain that our students can feel the urgency and that it is now time for revision. And again, we remind you, thanks to the government of Antigua Barbuda, that we have our tablets, right? And you're going on them and you're just punching in your stuff because everything is right here. It doesn't matter where you are, and especially for those people who have to catch a bus, right? It's on your lap, you're going home and you're just looking at them, all right? Take it along with you. You know your YouTube, you know your Facebook, all of the series. I say you can choose any one you want to, and you're going up and everything is right here. Any topic, okay? So you should not be saying you didn't have time to prepare or your teacher didn't tell you this or anything. And again, apart from mine too, remember we have CXC and the websites and all the examples. Do not cheat on yourself. Put in the hard work. Nothing comes without hard work. Labor, but reward is sweet. Okay? Do not stop from school without your mathematics. We can do it. Okay, so what did we say we were doing? Yes, we are now taking you into the avenue where you're doing factorization, and it is where the coefficient of the x squared term is equal to 1. So we are never going to be saying again where there's no coefficient. There is a coefficient, all right? But that coefficient is equal to 1. So that when I write x squared, we know it means 1x squared, but we don't write the 1 because we are mathematicians. So it is x squared, and it is plus, and it is 6x plus 8, okay? And we're going to just tell you again what we said. Look at here our steps. Step number 1, we're going to put up our 2 brackets, all right? Then step number 2, what is the term we're going to examine? We're going to examine our x squared term. And what are we saying? We're breaking it down right into its molecules, right? The simplest part. And x squared we know is equal to x times x, and so each of these x we're going to put in a bracket here, okay? So we put in our x, then which is our other concern? The next concern is the constant term, because we want the factors of that term, which would give us back the coefficient of our middle term, which is 6, okay? We're looking for the 2 factors of 8 multiplied together. If when we add or subtract them, we're going to get 6. And this time we shouldn't be worried too much because this is positive, right? Okay, so when it's positive, we can get that. All right. And you see, that's why I like, sorry, I'm getting my examples from Graham Lane. I love him because he just knows it is a concept that we are now teaching. So he makes the numbers very small. Teachers, take a pattern out of this, okay? Don't use no big numbers, easy little numbers. Use the prime numbers, 2 factors, because we want to ram home this concept. Do not leave the classroom. Do not leave the students. Tell them to sit, write an example for themselves, and come and show you what they have done, okay? Because you would be surprised to know that as well as you would have thought that you had said it, there's no possible way that they couldn't get what you're telling them. Haha. Look and see what they write sometimes, okay? So make certain you're practicing them the very first day. Your lesson is just to go around, check and see that even the slowest child, because there are going to be some students in your classroom who would have gotten the concept quicker, turn them into facilitators and teachers. All right? It is a we situation. Here, Right, let's get back to our 8. 8 is equal now to 8 times 1. If we subtract or add these numbers, 8 plus or minus 1, are we ever going to get 6? And the answer is no. So we know we're not using that one, okay? So we get rid of it. And then again, we are looking at our 4 now too. And you would say, nobody fooly, right? We're not dunce. We know right away 4 plus 2 would give us our 6. And so we're saying 4 plus 2 would have given us 6. But then, when we multiply now, a positive 4 times a positive 2, are we going to get a positive 8? Yes. So, bam, there is our answer. So we'll be putting in this bracket now a plus 4 and the plus 2. And that is just the answer. Alright? It is as easy as that. So our first step, our x squared term, we break it into 2 x's. We get x and x, put each in a bracket. And then we look for our factors for our constant term, which when we add or subtract them, would give us back our middle term. And even if you're 80, 81, age is a number, you can still learn, okay? Only in the Caribbean, people think that learning stops when you stop from school. But you go to these first world countries and you hear them saying, oh, so-and-so had so much going for him, so much to do. And he was just about getting ready to do X, Y, Z or the other. And you say, how old was he? And you hear, 93. And you say, what is this? All right? So keep going. And that is how you're going to get to yourself and keep yourself young. So let's go. So don't say I stopped from school a long time ago. No, get into it right now. I'm bringing it straight into your bedroom so you can learn, okay? So that is the answer for our factorization. Right, let us look at number 3. So for the first time now, we are going to get, coming into the proceeding, the negative terms. Notice what I did. We didn't start off with negative numbers because it's an issue, right? So we want to get the concept rammed home first. So don't try to let the student concentrate on 2 things at the same time. Why are we going to burden them with saying, wait, my signs are right? Not as yet, okay? Let them get the concept first, and then after that, we can worry about getting the signs right, okay? So here we are. So we're going with number 3, and it is now x squared minus 7x, and it is plus 10. And what are we saying? Again, 2 brackets, 1, 2, 1, 2. And oh, I have to tell you something too. When I say 2 brackets, you see this space here? I am saying to you, but the brackets must touch because we are saying they're multiplied by, okay? So it's not just brackets in the whole way. Make certain the brackets are touching, all right? Because that is what we're getting with our multiplication. What are we doing? So we're putting in our x and our x. We're looking at 10 and we're looking for the factors. If when we add or subtract them, this time we want a negative 7. Okay? We're looking for coefficient that is negative 7. What are the factors here? And you're going 10 times 1 and it can be 5 times 2. And again, we're smart, so we know 10 times 1 would not go. So it resides within our 5 with our 2. Because we know, just eyeballing the numbers, you can see 5 plus 2 would give you a 7. But how are we going to cope with this negative 7? So, yes, you put a minus in front of your 5. And a minus, you make them negative numbers, okay? So, having done that, negative 5 times negative 2. How can we get back what we started with? A positive 10. So we go back in our brains again and we say a negative times a negative positive. So we know, we're safe, man. So we'd be saying a negative times a negative here would give us our positive, and 5 times 2 would give you your 10. All right, so we know, good to go. So negative 5 and negative 2. And if somebody wrote that it is x minus 2 times x minus 5, it is still correct. All right, so moving right along, and we look at our next term, okay? Next term, look at what it is. Okay. suppose we had to look at this one, and it is now x squared, and it is minus 2x, and it is minus 15. Minus 15. Again, not because you have a negative sign in front of the number 15, okay? When we're looking at it, we just look at the number. So when we're going to be dealing to find the constant term, we're going to be looking for 15. We're not going to take the sign with us for this one. So we put up our two brackets once more, and here this would have been x with our x, and the 15 now we're looking and saying it will be 3 times 5, and we say don't write anymore because we can see out of a 3 and a 5 we can get a 2. But what type of 2 are we looking for? And we're saying right away we need a negative 2. So the biggest number has to be negative. So we're going to make the 5 a negative 5 and leave the 3 as a positive 3. So that when we do that, we are going to get negative 5 plus 3 would give us our middle term, which is negative 2. When we multiply them though, are we going to get negative 15? So what are we saying? We are saying now, check the sign. A positive times a negative, what is that going to give me? And a positive times a negative will give me a negative. So we say, bravo, that is right, okay? And then so we will get back our negative 15 from this, okay? So we can now put in that it is plus 3 and it is minus 5. If they wrote that it is x minus 5 times x plus 3, that is still correct. All right? So we have taken you through factorization, where the coefficient is one of the x squared term is 1, and all you have to do now is just to sit, and in the quiet of your little space you're going through to say, yes, I understand that now. That is what I didn't do in the exam. I wrote stupidness because I put a bracket in front and tried to cook something, but this is how it is done. I am going to send you on a break, and when we get back I'm going to take you into a second type of quadratic factorization where the coefficient is more than 1. So we can be 2, 3, any other number but not 1. So take your break and we'll be right back to take you through this.
Don't look on what I cannot do. Focus on what I can do. I may not say what I do, but I can hear and feel it I strongly.
I may not hear, but that does not and should not affect my ability to learn and to function in the real world.
I am a gifted student. I need the opportunity to soar. Support me in my climb to higher levels of learning.
Some of our children have special educational needs. They have a right to an education. So let us teach them the way that they learn and help them to achieve their full potential.
Be sure that you're working in the same units of measure when performing calculations. If a problem involves inches, feet, and yards, be sure to make the appropriate conversions so all of your values are in the same unit of measure. For example, change all values to feet. asked to show work or justify your answer, don't be lazy. Write down everything about the problem, including the work you did on your calculator. Include diagrams, calculations, equations, and explanations written in complete sentences. Now is the time to show off what you really can do with this problem.
Hi, so you had your break. You had time to go get a very cold drink and everything is all right now. You're settled up, you're feeling good about yourself because you're going into that examination room armed with new information and knowing that this time you are going to murder that question and not the question murder you, all right? Good. And remember your grannies too. You can check with them because they are listening and they are working the questions and they know what is. As promised, I'm now going to take you into the factorization of our quadratic equation where the coefficient is 2 or more, all right, of the x squared term. Let us look at this first one. So it is 2x squared minus 7x plus 5. 2x squared, and it is minus 7x plus 5. Right. Because the x squared terms are not the same this time, we have to pay attention. Okay? First thing, again, we're still concerned with the x squared term and the constant term. Okay? And we expect them to give us back our coefficient for the middle term, which is 7, negative 7. Okay? How are we going to do this? So the coefficient of the x squared term, we have to look for the factors. And again, the principle here is that I'm going to do it here because I need you to get this part of it. So 2, a good prime number, and it will be equal to just 2 times 1. And here, 5, it would be equal just to 5 times 1. And we can side glance and see we're looking for negative 7. And in your little smart way, you may want to tell me, Miss Weston, but I can do that and that. But it doesn't happen like that. So just listen. How we have to do it. Notice what I did. The coefficient from the x squared term, learn right from the beginning that you're always going to make them your top numbers. So don't make it your top number today and the next day something else and something else, because you're just going to mix up everything and muddle it and just confuse yourself. All right? So the first number on top would represent the factors for your variable, because it doesn't have to be x, it can be anything. All right? So for the x squared term. All right, in our case, it is 2, so it is 2 times 1. The bottom numbers always comes from our constant term. All right, and here again, Gray and Lane, these guys are smart. They've given us prime numbers, so we're just looking at 2 factors because we're teaching you a concept. How do we do it now to get to this negative 7? We have to engage with some multiplication. And I am saying to you, the multiplication can be done vertically, just like this. So the 2 numbers, they're multiplied. Or they can be diagonally. So going across to that 1 and going across to that 1. Okay? So look at what we say. The multiplication can be done vertically or diagonally, and our additions and subtractions take place down here to let us see what combination we should be using. Okay? So it is below that line that we will be performing our additions and our subtractions. When we just had the coefficient of 1, then we just can do it right away. When it's not like that, we have to do a multiplication first and then add and subtract the terms down here to see if they would work. Now, if we started and we're looking now to say use the rule where we're going to be multiplying vertically, so we're saying 2 times 5, we'll be getting 10, and here it is 1 times 1. And we look at our 10 and our 1. Adding would give us 11. Subtracting would give us 9 or negative something, all right? So we know that the vertical part of it is not going to work. So what are we going to try? We're going to use our diagonal multiplication. So it is just like forming an X. So we're going across, okay? So just use the word that you're going across like that, okay? And then you're coming across to this too. Okay, so the diagonal, because we're thinking in terms of a rectangle or square. So we're now saying 5 times 1, and that would give me 5. And it is now 1 times 2, and that would give me 2. And we know right away, if we wanted to get a negative 7, the 5 had to be a negative, and the 2 had to be a negative. All right, so that when we add them, we would get our negative 7. Okay, when we add them, we would get our negative 7. But how was the multiplication done? It was done using a constant term multiplied by an x squared term. A constant term multiplied by an x squared term. Listen carefully. As long as the x squared term is positive, because we wanted to get negative 5, we've got to make the terms in for the constant change the signs here. So this is a negative 5, and we wanted a negative 2, so we're saying this has to be a negative 1. So if the x squared terms are already positive, don't touch them. You're not changing the signs there. You're using your constant terms for any change of sign, okay? Now, when we would have done that, we would come back here now to see if we're multiplying them and if we're going to get positive 5. And we say, yes, a negative times a negative would give you a positive. So we know that we are right. Now, this is the first time you're learning something like that, so you know I'm going over again, okay? Just to show you. We're not going to finish this whole thing today, but we want to show you what happens, okay? Here, having done this, and we see that this would work, we would put up our 2 brackets, bracket, 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 bracket. The terms for the x's, put the 2x in here, put our x in the other bracket. What did we say must happen here? The brackets must touch, okay? They must kiss each other, all right? Because that is what we're saying, multiply by, all right? And then, what do we do now? We observed that the 2 in the x squared term was multiplied by the negative 1 for the constant term, so we can't put them in the same bracket. The terms that are multiplied together cannot go in the same bracket. So this negative 1 comes over here, and of course the negative 5 would come over here, okay? Because the negative 5 is multiplied by the term in our x squared that has 1 as the coefficient, so it goes in the opposite bracket. And that is all we have to remember. Let us just walk you through, because next week we're going to start right here, because if you get this, there's not anything else big in factorization you have to learn. This is where it all stops, because the others just take a piggybacking from this, and this is just a little watershed after this. So first, we're getting our x squared term, find our factors for the coefficient of the x squared term. The factors for the coefficient of the x squared terms, they are always forming our top row, all right? Then we get our constant term, have our factors, okay? And once we have done this, now we are grouping them to do a multiplication. And we say we can do it vertically, multiply the numbers, bottom row with top row, okay? And bottom number with top number. Or the other way around now, the second method would be to go diagonally. So you're going across. So you're looking across like you're forming an X. So you're going still again the bottom with the top number, but across. All right? So that is what we're saying. So when we would have done that, the answers we get beneath the line, we would then now be looking to add or subtract them to get back the coefficient of our middle term. And if we have to do any fixing, the numbers that we fix will come from our constant term if our x squared term is positive, okay? Then we're putting up our two brackets as we did before, putting one of the x terms, so you see 2x goes in first bracket, the x goes in the second bracket. We observe which numbers are multiplied together, because the numbers which are multiplied together cannot be in the same bracket. All right, so that is what we did here, and we ended up with our answer. I'm going to ask you to take these two, 6x squared minus x plus 35, 6x squared minus x plus 35, and our 3x squared minus 8x minus 28. And that is where we're going to start next week, our last class, before we send you on a little break for Easter, and giving you a chance to get to terms with all and start working the exam questions for yourself, because I'm sure you have been examining that examination paper and you know right away number question 7 and question 8, forming patterns, etc. That is really something that you can do without even sitting in a maths classroom. Okay, you see them right here. Okay, you're forming patterns, continue the different things. You're looking at numbers and grouping. So in the Easter vacation, I expect you to take up your papers. And again, these are online, okay? Go to our masteringmathematics.info. The papers are right there. CXC, also website. You can get past papers, or Mr. Myrick Smith in the Ministry of Education Examination Department. You take in your memory stick and he will be willing to put it on there for you, so you have things to practice from. You now are in charge of your learning. So students, get busy, all right? We have given you enough right now, so you have those things to look over. And I expect to get some of my colleagues to come, where they will be taking you through to show you the bearings and the time distance graph, and make it real easy for you to see that we are really going into that examination well prepared. I'm going to take you right through all the factorization, because I have somewhere in my guts feeling that one of these factorizations will be coming for your question number 9. Not the little ones will be your question 2s, but there's one when I come to saying that you're doing factorization for the perfect square, that it comes in right there, because some people want to be a perfect square but they can't be, so they have to buy a piece of cloth to add on to their dress. All right, so we're going to show you that. So until next time, when we come to you again, make certain you keep on studying, make certain you go through the principle. Nothing comes without hard work, and be prepared to work hard. If it's the night oil you have to burn, the days are bright now, the mornings are very nice. Set your time, set your timetable, do the work. All right, we want to make ourselves somebody significant in this world. Put in the work. Education is at your doorsteps. So until next time, from us here at the Ministry of Education, we say continue to trust God, and remember, nothing is impossible while we put our trust in God, and pray for our nation of Antigua Barbuda. This is Karen Weston saying from Jetta, right here at our studios. Until next time, see you again.
Join us next time for another in the series, Mastering Mathematics, a production of the Education Broadcasting Unit in the Ministry of Education and ABS TV.